think isn't as good of a thrower. So
Right.
that's why I'm high on Mackenzie Milton.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's probably got something to do with his obsession with UCF.
Hashtag Alabama's hashtag not my champs.
He's not going to admit it, but there's part of it that definitely is.
Yes. I can smell it. He'll be tweeting me every Saturday afternoon about his Golden Knights, whatever they're called now. The Fighting Dan Snyders, I think they're called now, actually.
Yes.
As long as they win, I won't hear the end of it.
But those are... I'm not a Will Greer fan, but I recognize talent. So I have him in the top 10, obviously, because he's very talented. But is he better than the 5 or 6 that I named? I don't think he is.
I got another question for you, just to try and move it in another direction. Is there anyone, guys, that you would say is a dark horse, someone that you feel like isn't being looked at right now, or just overshadowed by a lot of the talent that is available that you could see sneaking up that board?
Yes. There's a player. Now, this guy's really tricky. Hopefully, I'm not blowing something for later on in this podcast here, but there's a player, if he is healthy, that I think could be considered the best quarterback in the country later this season. There were times last season where he was making throws, and I'm like, wow, he is really good. It's a guy by the name of Jackson in Virginia Tech. Josh Jackson in Virginia Tech. I don't know if you guys have followed him yet. His situation in Virginia Tech is like his dad is like one of these crazy dads. I don't want to say he's like LeVar Ball level, but for some reason every meet they cut to him, like, he's just nuts. He's just crazy. But something happened with like academics, or him not going to class, or him like failing a summer. Something weird happened with his grades, and he was going to be suspended or thrown off the team. And then they put him back on the team. But Virginia Tech's like Miami last year, where their schedule, if they get by one game, they're going to go undefeated. Like, they're going to be in line to play for the national. I put money on Virginia Tech at like 500 to 1 because of things that laid out. Josh Jackson, Virginia Tech. Remember that name. Virginia Tech could be like Georgia this year, where they make a deep run, and he's my guy. Like, I would tell people, like, remember him because he's gonna be talked about a lot this season.
Not to ruin anything later on in the episode, but at the end, when we do our ACC breakdown, at the end we come up with our predictions. My prediction: Virginia Tech over Clemson to win the ACC.
So, hey, look at that! Spoiler alert! I like this.
So I think we're on the same wavelength. But I love everything that you just said about Jackson. I completely agree with you. I think he is a dark horse as well. But a couple more questions before we get into the actual ACC breakdown. Not only are you a Heisman voter, you're also a College Hall of Fame voter, right?
Yes.
Are there any names that we would recognize that are up for Hall of Fame induction this year?
So the Hall of Fame ballot is out. It will be announced in January. I gotta remember it's gonna be tough. I gotta try to remember the names here. I think this was the year that Leinart and Vince Young were on the list.
All right.
Vince Young, Matt Leinart were on the list. Let me see if I can pull it up for you. I don't know if I can pull it up for you guys, but yeah, Leinart and Vince Young were on the list this year. The way I vote for the the way I vote for the College Football Hall of Fame is I go back and try to remember what they were as a college football player. Like, that gets a little clouded for some voters because they remember their pro career, so they said, oh, they're a great pro, so they must have been a great college player. Like, that's not necessarily always the case, or vice versa. Like, he was great in college, but may not have been great in the pros. The goal is you're voting for the College Football Hall of Fame. So, like, guys like Leinart and Vince Young, like, don't be surprised that they both get in the College Football Hall of Fame, especially Leinart. Like, his stuff in Arizona for the Cardinals wasn't great, but he had one of the better college football careers ever. Like, he was that good. Like, same, like, whenever Tebow ends up on the ballot, people are going to think about that too. I always want to say, put my boy Torrey Holt in the College Football Hall of Fame. Torrey Holt's like always almost in, and I remember as a kid watching him tear up Syracuse with NC State. So I'm voting every year to get Torrey Holt in the College Football Hall of Fame, and he deserves to be in the College Football Hall of Fame.
He does. You're right, and I love when people, talk about what you were just saying, how they're a great pro, not necessarily great in the hall or in college, or vice versa. Like, we're going to see a ton of people like Jamarcus Russell was killer at LSU. Terrible in the NFL.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I kind of feel like Vince Young and Matt Leinart should go in together. I mean, that Rose Bowl game that year is one of the more memorable games. I mean, you had both of them going off on each other, and you had Reggie Bush running that year too. That was an incredible game.
And you had some really good players on defense, which is hilarious. Like Michael Huff was on that Texas team, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and
he was. Both those teams were absolutely stacked. Like the amazing part about there have been really good national championship games. Like the Auburn-Oregon game ended on a game-winning field goal. The Florida State-Auburn game ended on a game-winning touchdown.
Ohio State against Miami, like 3 overtimes was that?
Like these games were incredible. But what's so amazing about that, like all those teams you just listed off are, have won national championships in the past, except Oregon. But we all remember USC, Texas, undefeated. Like, no one forgets that game, and you're right. Like, it's still memorable. Like, Keith Jackson's final college football game, everyone remembers all that.
Do you know what I remember most from that season? Being a Penn State fan, the fact that the referee screwed up the clock and Mario Manningham caught a touchdown to end the game. Penn State had one loss that game, and that pissed me off because you would have had Texas, Penn State, and USC all undefeated.
That was an incredible season in college football. That was an incredible season for college football.
I remember watching that game.
If I'm not mistaken.
What was that guy? Sorry.
What I was going to say is, what people remember, I don't know how many people remember this, USC and Texas were 1-2 in the entire season. USC was 1 and Texas was 2, and they never lost. They stayed as the number 1, 2 teams the entire season, from September all the way to January.
That's great. That's
great. Amazingly rare nowadays because we can see, upsets can happen just by bad chance nowadays. It wasn't too long ago that Alabama lost on a kick return.
Yeah.
And no one expected that to come out of nowhere. So anything can happen. And for 1-2 the entire season, how often does the polls get it right in the beginning?
What was it?
These two.
Was it Alabama that lost on a Chad Kelly bomb that hit off one of the players' shoulder pads and the wide receiver caught it? Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was the old Miss college game day was there.
Oh, yeah.
I think college game day stormed the field. You know what that game's famous for now? That game is famous for college game day when Katy Perry was the guest picker. And Katy Perry, there's a video that went viral. Katy Perry showed up to an Oxford, Mississippi bar, took a shot, and the bar dived off the top. You can find that video. Type in Katy Perry bar dive, and you'll see it.
That's fantastic.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. Can I tell a quick? Can I give a Dan D'Antoni Sports exclusive story about Torrey Holt?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. So most people, when I hosted in Syracuse, they know this story, and I actually have had multiple people still come up to me and tell me this story. So Syracuse was playing NC State in college football that week. I don't know what it was. It's probably November of 2014, I think it was. So I'm booking. I still like booking for the shows. Even when I was in there, even when I had a producer in Syracuse, I just like booking. I like getting people's info. I like going after the guests. It's when we're all young, it's cool to do that stuff. You can build those relationships. So I get a hold of Torrey Holt. He's like, yeah, man, we can do it, no problem. Just call me on this number, blah, blah, blah. So it's 8:30 in the morning, right? So my producer calls Torrey, and he's like, hey, we got Torrey Holt on line 1. He just wanted to remind you that he's driving. I was like, yeah, it's no problem, man. Whatever. So Torrey Holt's got me on speakerphone doing the interview, and he's got his GPS on. He's giving this, great answer, but he can't tell in the background. It'll be in 500 feet, turn right onto South Street. Yeah, NC State's got a great quarterback. They got, Syracuse in 500 feet, turn left for NC State's campus. The whole interview, his GPS is going off. And I'm at a spot where it's people are hyped up that Torrey Holt's on the air. What am I supposed to do? Hey, Torrey Holt, turn your GPS off. He'd be like, no, I don't know where I'm going, dude. I can't. It's a live interview. I can't tell him to turn his GPS off. And when I did my last show in Syracuse, people called in. They're like, our favorite interview was when you had Torrey Holt on the air and he didn't turn off his GPS and just did the interview. You just didn't say anything. So we had Torrey Hall again in Albany like a year and a half ago. That's one of my favorite. Like people will still remind me, like when I go back home in Syracuse, about the Torrey Hall interview I did in Syracuse, where he wouldn't turn off his GPS and like did it, and I didn't correct him because I'm not going to tell Torrey Hall he's not going to do it.
That is great. That's great. So I don't know if you can give this or not, but early college football playoff prediction. Have you thought about that at all?
Yeah. Okay. So I would go. This is in no particular order. It's so lame to pick Alabama. It's so lame, but I pick.
Doesn't
Alabama.
it get old? Doesn't it just get old?
It does. It's so lame. Like I will pick Alabama again. It's lame, and then I'm going to pick Virginia Tech out of the ACC. I like Virginia Tech. I don't think Washington is very good, but their schedule again like benefits them so well. Like, but God. All right, here's what I'd go with. God, that Washington's okay. I'd go Alabama, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma. God.
Don't make me rag on you all season, man. Don't make me rag on you all season, because as long as they keep winning, your Twitter's gonna blow up.
Oh man, I'm done. All right, I'm taking Alabama, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma, and I'm taking Ohio State over Washington.
So he lucked out. He lucked out.
I don't like that pick. I hate it. I hate it.
You'll be reminded all season long that it's a good choice.
You were close with what I had. I have Alabama, Virginia Tech, but I'm going Washington, Wisconsin.
Oh, that's bold.
Wisconsin's eventually going to break through, right? They're so close
They gotta.
every year. They're so close every year.
They have to. They have to. I think they're going to win. They're the best team in the Big Ten. In my opinion, they didn't lose a star running back, star quarterback. What did they lose? Ohio State lost star quarterback, quote unquote star quarterback. They seem to lose 100 players every year. Penn State lost Saquon Barkley. They've lost a lot of veteran leadership on defense, which sucks. They've lost wide receivers. Michigan, are they ever going to figure it out? We don't know. I don't trust any of their quarterbacks. Wisconsin is the only team in my mind that makes sense. They haven't lost much, and they're getting better.
I think it's all true. I wonder, the thing, and just to pick up 2 points there, like the Michigan and Wisconsin thing, like Wisconsin had Russell Wilson, and they couldn't break through, but that season with Russell Wilson, like so many weird things happened in the fourth quarter. I think they had like a Hail Mary they lost on it, like a bad spot in one game. They had weird stuff. Same with like Michigan and Ohio State. Like Michigan, Shea Patterson is going to be such a storyline all season of what he's actually able to do and how good he really is. Ohio State, okay, so what if they don't have Urban Meyer? Are they still as good? And like, if Ohio State, like the Urban Meyer thing is interesting because like Jim Tressel was awesome. Jim Tressel was awesome at Ohio State. He lost his job because the players sold,
jerseys
gear
and
for
stuff.
Tattoos. Even though the Sugar Bowl, people always forget this, and I don't know how often this is like public now, but like I know this, and I've heard too many people tell me this. The Sugar Bowl forced Ohio State to play those guys in that game, if people remember. Like,
yes.
They were going to get suspended. They accepted a bid to the Sugar Bowl because the Sugar Bowl sucked years previous, and they're like, well, we're taking their guys. We're like, well, we're going to suspend them. All right, you're not going to the Sugar Bowl. And they're like, I guess we're going to play them? Like, you're giving us $4 million to play the Sugar Bowl. I guess we're going to play the guys. So they end up playing them, and then Tressel takes the fall for it, and he never gets a job. Like, how did Tressel never get a head coaching job after that?
I believe, actually, he started working in some way for the Colts.
He did. You're right. He did. And then he got a job as like an athletic director. And he probably was in his like 60s and he's like, this gig is awesome. I'll take the AD job. This is way easier than coaching. So I think he just like transitioned out of it. But yeah, like Wisconsin's gonna eventually break through. Like Ohio State, I don't know what's gonna happen with Urban Meyer. And I know like there's investigations ongoing right now. So depending on when you listen to this podcast, it may have already happened. But Wisconsin's like always there, and they're always good. And Washington plays cupcakes, and Browning's a very good quarterback, and Peterson's a really good coach. But I want to see some crazy team win the Pac-12. Like, I want to